Every human being speaks constantly. Even in silence, the conversation never stops. Talking to oneself is not something unusual. It is not a strange habit reserved for thinkers or dreamers. It is something every person does continuously. Just as we cannot stop eating or drinking forever, we cannot stop speaking internally. The only real choice we have is what kind of conversation takes place inside us. Most people move through life completely unaware that their inner conversations are shaping the circumstances of their existence. They try to change events. They try to change people. They try to change the world outside. Yet the unseen dialogue within remains untouched, and because of that, nothing truly changes. Ancient wisdom tells us, as a person thinks in the heart, so that person becomes. But thought doesn't move randomly. Thought follows the emotional paths created by inner speech, the quiet conversations constantly repeated within the mind. Every reaction, every expectation, every assumption about life is rehearsed internally long before it appears externally. To move in a new direction, one must abandon the previous internal dialogue. In biblical language, this was called abandoning the old self and becoming renewed in the spirit of the mind. Speech is the image of the mind. Therefore, to change the mind, one must first change inner speech. And by speech, this doesn't mean spoken words aloud. It means the silent conversations carried on throughout the day. Arguments imagined, explanations rehearsed, fears repeated, victories anticipated. The world is not fixed, it is a living field of mental transformation. Every person lives inside a unique psychological atmosphere created by internal dialogue. When someone discovers the creative power of inner conversation, life stops feeling accidental. Purpose appears, direction appears, action becomes conscious. Without awareness, life unfolds automatically, but awareness allows participation. Everything experienced externally is connected to conversations taking place internally, often unnoticed. As long as inner dialogue remains unchanged, personal history repeats itself. Many attempt to change external conditions first. But trying to change the world without changing inner conversation is like fighting against the nature of reality itself. And so people move endlessly through cycles of disappointment, believing circumstances are caused by others, by luck, or by fate. Yet the real cause often remains unseen. This idea may sound exaggerated at first, but it invites experimentation. Just as a scientific formula becomes true through demonstration, this principle becomes clear through personal observation. Consider a common situation. A worker believes a supervisor is unfair, critical, or dismissive. During the day, the worker keeps returning to that idea. While driving home, while walking, while lying in bed at night, the conversation continues inside the mind. The worker imagines explaining things to the supervisor, imagines defending every decision, sometimes even imagines the supervisor criticizing again, and answers back internally. Little arguments unfold in silence. The supervisor never hears these conversations, yet they repeat again and again within the worker's mind. Without noticing it, the worker begins to approach the supervisor with tension already present. A look feels like criticism. A short answer feels like rejection. Before long, the relationship starts reflecting the very conflict that has been rehearsed internally. Misunderstandings grow, tension increases, and the behavior between the two people slowly begins to echo the conversation that was taking place within one of them all along. Eventually, the external relationship mirrors that internal conflict. But when the internal conversation changes, when appreciation replaces argument, when respect replaces resistance, something unexpected happens. The relationship transforms, not because another person mysteriously changed first, but because the internal dialogue that shaped perception changed. Others often reflect what is persistently whispered about them within the mind. Loneliness, conflict, or harmony rarely appear without an inner cause. The real question is simple. What conversations dominate that inner world? What unseen dialogue is being repeated day after day? The solution to many problems begins here. Living consciously. Within every person exists what ancient teachings symbolically called the second self, the higher awareness seeking expression through human experience. Its task is simple: to become master of the word, master of inner discussion, to shape the world into the likeness of love rather than fear. Scripture describes this symbolically. Become imitators of the divine. But how does one imitate the divine? By calling unseen things as though they were already visible. By speaking inwardly from fulfillment rather than lack. Inner conversations continuously represent the world we inhabit. Each personal reality reveals the dominant dialogue within. Another ancient teaching states that every idle word carries consequence, not because of punishment, but because inner speech becomes experience. People often surrender to negative internal dialogue while still expecting control over life outcomes. Yet present inner conversations project both past and future experiences. They carry yesterday forward. They prepare tomorrow silently. Words sent inwardly never return empty. They accomplish what they are impressed with emotionally. Imagine wishing well-being for a friend. Instead of worrying or hoping vaguely, one imagines hearing that friend speak with joy. The voice is heard clearly. Gratitude is exchanged internally. Relief is felt as though the improvement already exists. In that moment, imagination becomes participation rather than observation. Such inner communion sends intention into experience. Creation always happens now, even when results appear later. To listen inwardly with focused attention is to begin creating events. Relationships, opportunities, and encounters are often invisible words made visible. Many unknowingly rob others of kindness through fixed assumptions. Prejudices form internally long before they appear externally. These attitudes develop through repeated mental conversations. Speaking inwardly from the premise of fulfillment is the method of conscious creation. What one wishes to see externally must first be seen internally. What one wishes to hear externally must first be heard within. Life faithfully reflects internal speech. A powerful question appears in ancient texts. Can two walk together unless they agree? The two that must agree are inner conversation and desired reality. If internal dialogue contradicts the desired outcome, movement forward becomes impossible. Progress occurs when imagination and inner speech align with fulfillment. Every stage of human advancement comes through conscious imagination. When inner dialogue matches the fulfilled state, effort becomes simpler. One begins acting from clarity instead of struggle. Correct inner speech is the dialogue that would naturally occur if the desired life were already real. It is the conversation of fulfillment. Hermetic teachings describe two gifts unique to humanity: mind and speech. Used correctly, these elevate human experience beyond limitation. Mind generates meaning. Speech gives it form. Together, they create lived reality. In symbolic language, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word and mind were one. Inner conversation and awareness cannot truly be separated. Changing the mind therefore requires changing inner speech. Life conditions are not imposed by an external force alone. They arise from choices, especially the choice of which ideas receive attention. Freedom exists in selecting inner responses. This moment is always the creative moment. The future forms from present internal dialogue. Just as seeds determine harvest, accepted assumptions determine outcomes. Truth depends less on visible facts and more on imaginative conviction. An assumption persistently maintained eventually becomes experience. Signs follow belief, they don't precede it. Life can be understood as training in image creation. Ideals wait for embodiment, but they cannot appear unless given psychological acceptance. One defines internally the person one intends to be, then lives inwardly from that identity. Faith means remaining loyal to that inner position, even when external facts disagree temporarily. The world eventually reorganizes around sustained inner conviction. Negative internal conversations, resentment, envy, silent hostility become collective consequences. They nourish conflict both personally and globally. Through habit, people sometimes become emotionally attached to negative thinking. Failure becomes justified. Misfortune becomes fascinating. Judgment becomes routine. Such misuse of inner speech perpetuates struggle. Transformation begins by consciously repeating inward phrases that imply fulfillment. Repeated gently, consistently, they reshape emotional states. Eventually, the feeling of accomplishment arises naturally. The great secret of success is controlled inner conversation spoken from fulfilled desire. The only price required is abandoning the old dialogue. The dialogue of limitation, the dialogue of defeat. Many people are now discovering that they can consciously participate in shaping reality, bringing heaven into daily experience through directed imagination. This creative power doesn't apply only to oneself, it extends to others as well. When imagination is used lovingly, when we imagine the best for another person, that inner act begins influencing reality itself. Imagination must be used as participation, never merely observation. To imagine effectively, see internally what you wish to see, hear what you wish to hear, feel what would be felt if it were already true. Add sensory vividness. Remain with the experience until relief or certainty appears. This is active imagination, very different from passive daydreaming. Through this process, deeper awareness awakens within human experience. Imagination is not fantasy, it is the doorway to reality. All time passes through the present moment. Imagine elsewhere as here. Imagine later as now. Success can always be measured by inner conversation. If internal dialogue matches what would naturally be said in fulfillment, the state has already begun forming. Future events can often be predicted by observing dominant inner moods and conversations. Imagination is the prophetic power within humanity. Everything encountered is internal speech made visible. When unwanted situations appear, they signal the need for a change in mental nourishment. Human beings don't live by physical food alone. They live by inner words. Since inner speech originates in the mind, mental nutrition matters. Feed the mind with thoughts aligned with dignity, kindness, and possibility. Withdraw attention from conversations rooted in fear or resentment. Through inner speech, worlds are constructed. Allow love to guide attention toward what is noble and life-giving. Refuse to energize thoughts unworthy of the life intended. So that one no longer needs to ask, "What have I created?" Because creation will be conscious. The future is being spoken internally right now. Master the conversation, and reality follows. And if you're still here, still listening, thank you. It truly means a lot. Perhaps something in this message resonated with you. Take a quiet moment and ask yourself, what conversation will I choose to carry within from this point forward? If this video brought you clarity or support on your path, you can share that intention in the comments. You might simply write, "I choose to speak to myself with," and complete the sentence in your own way. Your words may inspire someone else who is walking a similar path. If you feel that someone in your life would benefit from hearing this message, consider sharing the video with them. Sometimes the right idea arrives at the exact moment it is needed. Feel free to share your thoughts, reflections, or practices in the comments. This space can become a quiet exchange of insight and encouragement. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening.